People, LP2000, my back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Counter Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju. And yes, welcome back to another edition of the Mark Seng Yang Showcase. And yes, we're going to take a break from Godzilla, kind of. And we're going to be taking a break from X Plus, kind of. And focus on, yes, the one and the only eighth wonder of the world, King Kong from the 1976 film. Yes, and I have a custom-made statue from great, awesome, talented kaiju sculptor and artist, Mark Seng Yang. Yes, he made this beautiful sculpture of King Kong as well as the base here. And that's going to be the focus of this video today. Yes, this is like I think my second or third Mark Seng Yang Showcase because I've gotten a few Mark Seng Yang pieces. For those who don't know, Mark Seng Yang is an awesome, talented, just captivating kaiju artist and sculptor, and he makes these awesome kaiju creations out of like clay, and once he's done they have more of a resin feel. And I met Mark online, I believe it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and since then I got a couple of kaiju sculptures from him. To be specifically, I know I'll cover our backstory in past videos, but I don't mind rehashing a little bit of that here. I saw a picture of a Godzilla 1991 sculpture, and as y'all know, for those who are familiar with me, 1991 Godzilla is like my favorite incarnation of Godzilla from the Heisei period. Well, anyways, there was like this picture of this like clay sculpture, this resin sculpture of the 1991 Godzilla, and it was just his torso, his upper torso, no feet or tails attached, but you know, his head, his upper body, dorsal plates, and it looked awesome. So I did some legwork and tried to find out who exactly was the guy behind the sculpture. And it was Mark Seng Yang. And I approached him and said, hey, you think you can make a full figure out of this? And at first, he didn't know if he could do it, you know, because he never done anything like that before. He did other great kaiju, or at least creations or clay creations prior to the 91 torso. But he never did a full giant scale figure. Because I wanted my figure to be, or at least my sculpture to be, you know, really big, gigantic series scale, 18 inches, 17 inches, or whatever, or what have you. And At first, he was like, I don't know if I can make it, but he said that he would try, and he put forth a great effort. And since then, I've got like 2 Godzilla 1991 figures from him, giant size Godzilla figures, just awesome creations. Speaking of Kong here, he's not the first Kong I got from him. I got a 1967 Kong as well as a 1962 Kong from King Kong vs. Godzilla. He did a fabulous job on that to go and scale with my gigantic series Godzilla 1962 X Plus figure. So ever since like then, we've been like really been close friends, really. And I rely on him when X Plus doesn't deliver on things, he does, you know. And I look at him as a great alternative to X Plus or SH Monster Arts or any other toy companies out there that doesn't deliver the kaijus that we want. Especially Kong, because Kong is kind of like in the gray area. He's kind of hard to touch. X Plus has touched on him. You know, they're gonna be doing a King Kong from King Kong Skull Island or Kong Skull Island. They're gonna be doing a figure of him in a few months. That's like the first Kong figure X Plus has done like officially like in like a long time. So to fill that void, I contact Mark Seng Yang to give me these kaiju pieces of figures, at least monsters that are not readily available right now. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Phillip Frazier, because he was partial inspiration of me getting this guy. Because Phillip Frazier is an avid, loyal X Plus supporter like I am. He is, I think he started like May of 2017 last year. And to this day, he has accumulated a lot of figures, lots and lots of figures, you know. I'm very impressed. And he also contract with Mark Seng Yang also, you know, to make him some great sculptures or whatever. And in one day particular, he had Mark Seng Yang create a sculpture of this version of King Kong with the snake wrapped around him, you know, to recreate the scene from the film where Kong is battling the snake and he like rips the jaws of the snake apart. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, that is an awesome sculpture. And for one, I mean, I've been meaning to get another King Kong sculpture from him for a long time. I wanted another 67 because I already got one from him, but I want, you know, another one because I love the 67. It's my favorite King Kong incarnation of all time. But I saw Phillip's sculpture, you know, and I'm like, you know what? I want a King Kong 76. And it's actually kind of, you know, I actually felt good after I saw that because, for one, it was a great looking sculpture. And number two, I realized I'm not the only person out there that loves the King Kong 1976 film. Because I know that film, as well as the sequel, King Kong Lives, are kind of looked upon as like the red-headed stepchild when it comes to King Kong movies amongst King Kong purists. But I'll say this right now, I love King Kong 1976. It's like my second, it is officially my second favorite King Kong film of all time. Yes, I view this film higher than the original as well as the 2005. I know that's blasphemy, like I said, amongst King Kong purists. But I grew up with this film. I have such nostalgia for this film, you know. But I'll touch on that later on. But ever since I saw Phillip's awesome sculpture, I contacted Mark and said, you know what? Make me a giant size Kong. And this Kong right here stands at least 17, 18 inches tall. At least 17 and a half. And he was like, cool, I can make you one. And I wanted the pose to be like similar to the King Kong from Skull Island, where remember the scene where the helicopters first encounter Kong and he's like off in the distance and they show the helicopters coming in and he's like having that pose where he's like this. I wanted the 76 Kong to have this pose. And that's the thing about Mark Seng Yang. If you go to him and tell him exactly what you want, he will deliver exactly what you want. He will not take artistic liberties for anything. He will give you exactly what you want, what you request. And he has not every single sculpture that I got from him out of the park every single time. I have not been disappointed with what I've gotten from him. And I highly suggest you go to his Facebook page, Art of Mark, contact him. And if you're interested in getting some great kaiju sculptures like this one and the ones that I showed earlier, please go to his Facebook page and send him a message on Facebook. You will not be disappointed, you know? So I'm talking to Mark, said, okay, I want this Kong like this. I want it to be this size, blah, blah, blah. He was like, cool, I can get that for you. But I want to go one step further because, you know, I'm huge into setups. And the one thing I've really not gotten into is diorama setups, you know. I tried a few times to try and make custom dioramas like this one right here, but I suck at that. I recognize the fact that I'm not good when it comes to artist stuff like this, painting and creating stuff like this. So that's where, great guys like Mark Seng Yang and David Abdotko and Burley Vang and a couple other great artists, Steve Savajoli out there in Vegas. I recognize I can't do what they do, so it's great that they are there, that you can say, hey, can you do this for me? So, anyways, I wanted, in addition to Kong, I wanted to have like a little diorama piece. So I contacted Mark and I gave him a couple of reference pictures, and reference pictures helps. If you do contact Mark and do have him do a sculpt for you, it's best to have reference pics so he can know what he's making and what exactly you want. And I'm like, you know what? I want a jungle setup. I want a jungle setup of Kong's Island, like behind him. And in addition to that, he also made like this little mini sculpture of the girl in the film, Dwan, not Anne, Dwan. And she's like laying like this, looking up at Kong. And just an awesome presentation. He has done a great job, not only with Kong, but with the setup here. With this awesome base setup. I mean, I'll get up close and personal in a few seconds, but the overall presentation is exactly what I wanted. And to top it off, as an icing on the cake, he included King Kong's name embedded into the base right here. King Kong 1976. So yes, such a great custom piece. Mark Seng Yang once again has outdone himself. He even messaged me personally and said, you know what, I think this is the best one that he has ever done. And you know what, Mark, if you're listening or you're watching, you are absolutely right, because this Kong is really awesome. Even my wife, when she first saw it, because mind you, my wife is a Kaiju fan like I am. She's not in it hardcore as I am, but she still is a fan. But even she was like, you know what, that's the best Kong I've ever seen in my life, And Mark Seng Yang once again has done me a great service. I could not have asked for a better product. He put his heart and soul into this project, and he was hands-on every step of the way. He would show me progress pictures, and each progress pic he would show me, I'll get more and more excited, because he's also in high demand. Obviously I'm not the only one that contracts with him, but the fact he still put forth such a great effort and detail and realism in this whole presentation piece right here shows that Mark Seng Yang is such a great guy. He's such a great guy, such a captivating artist, and I highly suggest you go to his website, or at least, his Facebook page, Art of Mark, if you want a Kaiju sculpture. Just an awesome cat. King Kong 1976, once again, my second favorite King Kong film of all time. I know it's looked upon as like I said, the redheaded stepchild of the King Kong films. But in this video, we're going to praise this film. Yes, we are. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not going to be sorry for having an opinion about something, But yes, I love this film, and I love this Kong presentation here. So let's get up close and personal with my newest Mark Seng Yang creation, King Kong, for the 1976 remake film. All right, let's go. Okay, folks, here we are up close and personal. Now, before we look at the entire presentation with Kong here, I want to focus a few minutes on this awesome diorama base that Mark Seng Yang made. And it kind of ties in with a couple X Plus figures, which you'll see in a slideshow in a couple seconds before I bring Kong back. But I just want to give just a dedicated few minutes to look at this awesome base here. Look at the craftsmanship that Mark Seng Yang put into this base. And I don't want to go a lot into his personal business, but I believe at the time, according to our personal conversations, like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail here. But Mark was actually injured a little bit. I think his hand was hurting or something like that. Either way, he wasn't 100%. But look at the quality here. So if a man can do this and he's not 100%, can you imagine what he can do when he is 100%? But that's a testament of how dedicated and how awesome Mark Seng Yang is. Even injured, he would still put forth an effort to give you a quality product. And this is such a quality product. I think he made the base, I think a little bit of clay, a little bit I don't know exactly what he made it out of, but still he put like some green foliage all over here to recreate the jungle layer of Kong's Island, or Skull Island, whatever. The tree right here, falling right here, the brown on the tree. Just an overall great presentation. And like I said earlier, his name embedded right here, which is, by request. So, with the wood, whatever wood atmosphere with the letters or whatever, it looks really primal. It just screams King Kong. And also this peg right here is for Kong's foot. It's like a hole in Kong's foot, and you just slide the sculpture onto the peg here to keep him more grounded onto the base. So if you happen to move him, he won't come falling down. He also has footprints right here embedded right here, so give him more of a stabilization while he's on the base right here. But I want to just give a few seconds and talk about this awesome diorama base. Such an man, this is just so great. It's like, and then once you put the two together with the Kong, with Kong himself as well as the base here, you have a great diorama. Mark Seng Yang has done an absolutely fantastic job with this base, and I will actually contract with him more to see if I can get more like custom bases. Maybe I may try like a Monster Island base, or maybe a Planet X base, for Monster Zero. All you gotta do is go to Mark and then and just tell him what you want, and 9 times out of 10 he will get you what you want. But like I mentioned before, this does have something to do with X Plus, because there are a couple X Plus figures you can put on top of this base in particular, just to show that if you do contract with Mark Seng Yang, even if you don't want a Kaiju sculpture, you can contract with him to see if you can get like a base for your X Plus figures. And like I said, I did put a couple X Plus figures here that you will see in the slideshow to give you some examples on what they would look like on a base like this, So let me bring Kong back, and in the meantime, see how a couple X Plus figures will look on an awesome Mark Seng Yang base like this. All right, give me 2 seconds.
You'll find him on Monster Island.
Okay, folks, here we are back, and Kong is back where he belongs. Yes, on his island base with his woman. And first off, let me talk about that for a couple seconds. Like I mentioned, Mark Seng Yang did make like a small mini duplicate replica of Dwan in the film, and the way she's positioned, like, she's laying down, she's looking up at Kong. Kong is standing over her, ready to protect her from either a giant snake or that was the only monster in the film besides King Kong. But look at that. And me and my wife had this discussion maybe a few weeks ago, or at least a couple weeks ago, because we were actually watching this film, King Kong 1976, and we were just joking, laughing about the fact that, honestly, if you think about it, if this was like a real situation, Dwan or Anne would be like the most protected woman on the planet. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine being the girlfriend of King Kong? Can you imagine that? Like, as a woman, you will be, like I said, you will be the most protected woman on earth. Nobody's gonna mess with you. No man is gonna harass you. Like, can you imagine that? Who in their right mind is gonna step to King Kong's woman and try to start some mess? You know, that's like suicide, you know? So yeah, being King Kong's girlfriend is not exactly a bad thing. Obvious reasons, y'all can't do certain things, but still, he'll protect you, he'll care for you, I just think that's a that's a good idea that a lot of folks probably don't really think about that. As being King Kong's girlfriend, you're awarded a lot more perks. Anyways, let me get back to the review. But yes, Mark Seng Yang has done a great job with this. The texture of Kong, looks really, 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 really awesome. His chest is all chiseled and he just has more of the Kong that we kind of saw in the Toho films. In the original King Kong, as well as 2005, he was more so of a gorilla where he would walk, on his hands or whatever. But this version of King Kong, he walks more so like a man, but very, very monstrous. So that's why I kind of gravitate, more towards this Kong versus the other remake ones. Or not remake ones, the 33 or 2005. I gravitate more so to this one because to me, he was more monstrous. His roar, oh my God, his roar is just unnerving and it's really, really primal, scary primal if you really think about it. But yes, Mark Seng Yang, great job with the detail on Kong here. His teeth look really, really awesome. Basically, everything is sculpted individually. Everything is sculpted. Every hair, like I said, his teeth, the color in his teeth, his tongue, his eyes, it's just an awesome representation of King Kong 1976. And it's a shame that we don't see much merchandise for him out there, But I think that has a lot to do with, once again, Kong has been like in legal limbo, with various, movie companies or whatever. So it's a shame that he has gone through that where, a lot of us King Kong fans have kind of been deprived of great King Kong sculptures or figures or whatever. Once again, that's where Mark Seng Yang comes into play here. But basically, the detail speaks for itself. I love like the shape of the head, the sculpt of the head. Like I said, just the main selling point aside from, that's the thing, there's too many great selling points that it's kind of hard to pick one. The diorama being awesome. His name embedded here. All the hair that Mark Seng Yang sculpted, to simulate the hair, the chiseled, buffed up chest, his amazing, ferocious looking face. Or just the whole, like I said, diorama in general. Mark Seng Yang just, once again, has really captivated me. And, it's just an amazing piece. I really don't know what to say. I really am a loss for words. And that's a testament to the talent that Mark Seng Yang has, So once again, if you're wanting one of these kaiju sculptures, whether it's Kong or it's Godzilla or something that, he can make for you, go to his Facebook page, Art of Mark. Contact him via Messenger and try to work something out with him. And I'm sure that he would do whatever it is that you ask him to do or try to give you the best kaiju product possible. Just talk to him. He really is an approachable guy. He's very hands-on. He's very responsive, which is good, especially, in today's, like market situation where you don't know who to trust or who to talk to or who to establish a great relationship with. But I've had a great relationship with Mark, like I said, spanning at least 3 years. At least 3 years. I think 4 or 5. Yeah, I think I got my first sculpture from him back in 2013. So really it's going on 5 years. And ever since, 2013, I got my first kaiju sculpture, G91, the first G91, giant G91. I got that from him, I think late 2013. And ever since then, he's just an amazing guy. Really, contact him, please. You will not be disappointed with him. He's just an awesome cat, awesome guy, and yes, just talk to him, and then he'll get you whatever it is that you need. I am living proof of that. I'm sure Phillip Frazier is too. All right, so let's do a fun size comparison, and then I'll talk about my thoughts of King Kong 1976, and I may talk about King Kong Lives just a little bit. King Kong Lives, just to give you a warning, is not one of my favorite films of all time, but I'm going to try and be kind because this design was used in King Kong Lives. It's the same suit in a way, but the faces were a little bit different between 76 and King Kong Lives. I think that film came out in 86. The faces are a little bit different, but still the overall look is generally the same. But I'm going to try and be kind to King Kong Lives. I'm going to try, but yeah, so let's go with the first and only size comparison. And let's bring up another monster that y'all may be familiar with. And let's see how these two look together. All right, let's go. All right, folks, y'all know what time it is. Yes. Here next to Kong, I have the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1995, or Burning Godzilla, or Desu Goju, whatever you want to call them. And I want to put these two together just to show a sense of scale on how big this King Kong sculpture is. Once again, Mark Seng Yang is the man. Yes, he is. And he made such a powerful looking Kong, a powerful, sizable looking Kong next to this gigantic burning Godzilla. And it's funny because when I see these two together, it just makes me wish that we would have got something from them in like maybe their second round of films. Because even though this King Kong was made in the 70s, 76, and of course this Godzilla was made in the Heisei, 1995, 18 years difference. I kind of, in a way, look at both of these as like, of course this version of Godzilla is like it's a Heisei version. I kind of look at 76 as the Heisei version, even though technically it's like in the Showa period, if it were in Japan. But I look at this like newer version of King Kong, I look at him as like a Heisei version of King Kong. So seeing these two together just made me wish that we would have got something from them in the Heisei period of Godzilla films. Even though it was planned to have a rematch between King Kong and Godzilla. But they couldn't get the rights to make King Kong, so they made Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah instead. But I remember back in the day before DVDs and Blu-rays and HD DVDs and all this high definition, home video entertainment, we had VCRs, VHS tapes. I know a lot of y'all young folks out there, I'm like, what is that? Basically it's like an old school DVD, in case y'all don't know. But I remember they brought out a couple editions of King Kong vs. Godzilla. And like on the cover, or at least on one particular one I remember, they show a picture of this version of King Kong like in a city. And like the 73 Godzilla, like in the same city. But they were kind of like out of scale and the city's burning, But also at the top, at the top of the display, it had King Kong vs. Godzilla, but it had a picture of the 1985 Godzilla, the Cybot version to be exact, and the face of King Kong like right next to each other to show them, going at it. With the city destruction scene with the 73 Godzilla and this version of King Kong, as I mentioned earlier. And it just got me to wishing like, wow, I wish that we would have got something from these two. I wish that we would have gotten a fight between these two. There's something, it would have been cool to see this version of King Kong fight. Maybe not exactly this version of Godzilla, because this is like, the only gigantic Heisei Godzilla I do have in my collection from X Plus. Hopefully they will rectify that real soon, whatever. But that's another video for another time. But it just makes me wish that we would have got something, seeing these two together, and it's also, it creates another setup. So in case I want to take Kong off his base, if he gets tired of sitting on Skull Island watching over the girl, he can come right here and have a showdown with Godzilla. I think it looks great. I think it looks really, really awesome. Really do. It shows they have come a long way and makes me really super pumped for Godzilla vs. Kong in a couple of years. So I think, a couple of years from Legendary. Yeah. So that's the only size comparison I want to put in here. Like I said, I think they look great together. Both iconic giant monsters, probably the most famous giant monsters of all time in the history of the world, in the history of pop culture, and they look great together. Once again, thank you, Mark Seng Yang, for making this happen for me. All right, so let's talk about King Kong 1976, and to a lesser extent, let's talk about King Kong Lives. I'm gonna be positive. All right, let's talk about these films. Okay, folks, I'm back, and let's talk about King Kong 1976. Once again, like I mentioned earlier, I know that this film, as well as the next one, King Kong Lives, are looked upon as like I said, the very-headed stepchild of the King Kong series by a lot of King Kong purists out there. But for me, I really do enjoy this film. I really do. I saw this film when I was growing up, around the same time I saw King Kong versus Godzilla. And mind you, I didn't see the original King Kong until like much years later when I was like a teenager. And even though I do like the film, I do, and I recognize what kind of film it was, how legendary it was, how iconic it is, how it basically birthed, the whole giant monster concept when it comes to films. I recognize its importance when it comes to, pop culture or just the historical importance in general. I get that. As well as the 2005, I know the 2005, it's a great movie. I view this, I kind of view them the same in a way. I feel about them the same way. Except that with 2005, it was basically the exact same story in a way. It was kind of tweaked here and there, but it was made with better special effects and blah blah blah. So I kind of look at them kind of like on the same level, but it's something about King Kong 1976 that really draws me in. Mind you, the film is not perfect. Trust me, I recognize some of the issues that it has with it. Actually, the couple of issues I do have with it, the main issue that, not exactly the main issue, but a few issues that I have with this film is the fact that when they come to the island, of course I'm talking about spoilers here, so I'm sure that everybody that's watching this video has probably seen the movie, or at least know a lot about it, so I'm talking about spoilers here. My issue, at least the two main issues I have with this film, is the fact that when they finally come to the island, we all know the story, basically it's a remake of the 33 film, but, it's more realistic and it's more gritty, it's more darker film in a way. But basically, this oil tycoon discovers this new island. He thinks there's like oil deposits there, so he goes there to try and claim the island for himself, or at least try to get the oil from the island. Then they encounter Kong, but then once he realizes that the oil on the island is basically, it's worthless, then he decides to try and capture Kong to make some money off of it. That's my issue with the film. I think that once you encounter Kong, what I would have done is that, you still could have had the main story in place where the guy comes to the island tries to find oil or whatever. But once he encounters Kong, that should be like, forget the oil. I don't care about making no money off of oil. I can make money off of this guy. Here is basically the most incredible creature walking the face of this planet. But in the movie, after he's revealed, after he's discovered, they're not really astounded by it. At least maybe one or two characters are, but the majority of the characters are like, okay, he's just a giant 50-foot tall ape. They're not really astounded by his presence. And that's my issue with the film, at least one of the issues. And my other main issue is the fact that when they bring him back to the United States, when they bring him to New York, he's brought in as like a spokesman for an oil company, and they put him in that goofy giant that gas station pump, and they peel it off and they show him in this cage. That was just, I don't know. I don't like that. I really don't. What is it with people wanting to use King Kong as a spokesperson for their products? They did it in King Kong versus Godzilla. Remember Mr. Taco? They got tired of Godzilla getting all the attention in the media and publicity. So he wanted to bring King Kong in, mainly as a spokesperson for his company. And now in this one, in this movie, he's like they want to make him a spokesperson for the oil company. Those are the main issues I have with the film. The fact that, Kong is the only monster besides the snake in the film doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me that it doesn't have dinosaurs in it. Even though, like I said, I like the 33 version, I like 2005 version. To me, in those versions, honestly, and what is the main reason why I love King Kong 76 the most, is that in this film, they made me feel more about the connection between Kong and the girl. They focus more on them. Kong is not distracted with dinosaurs or pterodactyls or constant threats every 5 seconds, and the movie focuses on them. even, you know, when Kong first encounters the girl, it's not like he's happy or anything like that. He's sniffing her out like, wait a minute, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna take you with me and we'll fill each other out. Basically, you know what it is. You know, that's what that situation was. But it made me feel more about the story. At least made me feel more about their connection. You know, their relationship. In the 33 version, that girl spent most of the time screaming at Kong. So even when he dies at the end, you don't really get a sense that she feels for Kong. In a way, she kind of comes across like she's relieved that he's dead. You know, they kind of rectified that in 2005. You know, I think 2005 did take a page from 76, where in that one I do care more about their relationship. You know, but I don't think in 2005, I don't think that wouldn't have happened without the 76. You know, and I think 76 did a few things better than both the 33 and 2005 film. First thing that they did better is King Kong's appearance, his first appearance scene. That scene to this day is still awesome. You know, you have the natives on top of the wall chanting his name. They, you know, they're blowing their bullhorn to get Kong to come to them. You know, with the torches. You know, the fire torches, you know, lighting up the sky a little bit, and it's dark at night. Then they show the girl, close up of the girl, you know, and then they show a close up of the trees, and you hear trees crackling and breaking as if something is on its way. Then they show you bits and pieces of Kong, his eyes, the back of his head, and his mouth a little bit. Then they show like Kong's point of view, where you see trees just going by the wayside. Boom, 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 boom. Then you hear his footsteps. And then the music from John Barry. Oh my God, that music is so amazing. Oh my God. And if you're a James Bond fan, because I think John Barry did a few James Bond films, so you kind of hear that in the score. But this score, oh my God, it's like another a complimentary element to this film. And then once Kong is revealed and he's roaring and he's beating his chest, oh my God, that revelation scene is better in my opinion than the 1933 version when he first comes on screen, as well as the 2005. You know, and once again, another thing that this Kong movie shines, his rampage. Oh my God. You know, when he was going through the city, you know, when he picked up that subway train, you know, it just awesome. Then he rips it open, trying to find the girl, you know, whatever. And also the death scene. Oh my God, that death scene was just, even to this day, I'm still heartbroken when I see that death scene. In a way, I'm kind of more heartbroken of this death scene than Godzilla's in Godzilla vs. Destroyer, you know? You know, just the fact that, you know, the helicopters come in and you think, you know, because they try to strike a deal to try and capture Kong so they can bring him back to his island safe. At least one of the characters do. But then once you realize that when the helicopters come in and they have those machine guns, and it's just a bloodbath. Kong is spewing blood everywhere. Oh my God. And then the girl is at his feet, you know, trying to block the helicopters from killing him. You know, they recreated that in 2005. Once again, 2005 has taken a few pages from 1976, so obviously it's not that bad. But the girl is screaming like, "Don't kill him! Don't kill him!" And it's like we, the audience, are feeling the same way. You know, don't kill him. You know, 'cause it's not really Kong's fault for what happens to him. You know. But once again, like I said, the main reason why I love this film is the fact that it made me love the Beauty and the Beast story, which is the basis of the film anyway. Beauty and the Beast, you know? And I think this film did the best job between the 1933 and 2005 film of conveying that message. Because like I said, in 33, I couldn't really, you know, I knew that Kong cared for the girl, but I didn't think it was reciprocated. You know, and like I said, in 2005, they kind of rectified that, basically. But in 76, you really feel that Kong not only cares for the girl, but the girl really does care for Kong, you know? So that's why I love this film so much. Aside from the Kong suit being such a great upgrade, you know, from the 33, and that's one of the main reasons why I can't get into 2005 King Kong. Aside from the fact that it's 4 hours long, that look of Kong doesn't really click with me. You know, I don't like him being just an overgrown silverback gorilla where his jaw is half hanging off his, you know, off his face, and he's brutally scarred, you know. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind that design of Kong, which is one of the reasons why I don't really hold that version of King Kong, at least the 2005 movie, up that high, you know. But between this design, the roar, the music, you know, the story, you know, the characters, I really have gravitated to this film, and I don't think it deserves the reputation that it has. You know, I think this is a solid film. I think the only reason why it gets a bad rap because you compare it to the other two. And when you do that, yes, this film's gonna feel like it falls short. This film's gonna feel like that it doesn't measure up to you know, to standards when it comes to King Kong films. But if you take that out of the equation and just judge it as a movie what it is, and just keep in mind the whole Beauty and the Beast storyline to begin with, which was the original movie was based upon, I think that you would enjoy this film. I really do. I really do think that you enjoy this film. Now, King Kong Lives, that's the thing. Like I said, this same design was kind of used, you know, in King Kong Lives. Like I said, it's the same suit, but the faces were changed a little bit. As a kid, I love King Kong Lives. Obviously, I was a kid, you know, giant monster, giant King Kong. I was actually very relieved that they came out with King Kong Lives. Kind of like the whole dynamic between Godzilla 1985 and Godzilla's Biollante. Remember in 1985 when Godzilla falls into the volcano? Now, in the Japanese version of the film, they show Godzilla fall into the volcano, but they don't add in that screeching sound effect as they would do in the 85 version. So in the 85 version, that was the first version I saw when I was a kid, and I saw Godzilla fall into the volcano, and he's screaming, and it's like, oh my God. That basically made me believe that Godzilla was going to die. You know, Godzilla was dead at the end of 85 because of that one sound effect. You know? So when I found out they was making Godzilla's Biollante, I was like, oh great. You know, it's a continuation from 1985. I was like, great, that's good. You know, I was relieved. After watching King Kong 1976 and realized, you know, he was dead at the end, you know, with the, you know, him on the ground, him looking at the girl, and the heartbeat is, you know, you can hear the heartbeat just slowly, boom, 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 going slowly. Obviously, he's dying. But then when they brought King Kong Lives, and it basically picks up exactly where the 76 version left off, and now he's being kept alive through the miracle of modern medicine. I'm like, oh great, they were able to bring King Kong back. You know, and then they introduced Lady Kong, you know, a giant female version of Kong, and then they have like their love story, you know, whatever. Then they have a kid at the end, and then before he dies, you know, he does get a chance to hold his kid. It's funny. At the end of King Kong Lives, King Kong dies. I mean, I wish that they could have at least had him live something, you know. But as a kid, I liked it. Now, not so much, but at the same time, I do realize that I have been giving that film a hard time. I don't think it's bad. Right now, I don't think it's bad. Looking back on it now, I don't think it's bad as it, you know, as I thought it was at one time. You know, going by the story, I think it was a good story. I just think 76 was better, and I think they tried to make a salvageable film with King Kong Lives. You know, but I would have to say that ending scene where he does fight the military to protect, you know, the Lady Kong, you know, the pregnant Lady Kong from being injured, and he goes out with a blaze of glory, punching down tanks, and then he gets that corrupt military general and just stomps the crap out of him, you know, which I think King Kong Skull Island kind of like took a page from that too. But it was nice seeing Kong go out in the blaze of glory and then see his son before he passes away. But once again, I know King Kong 1976 and King Kong Lives, like I said, are not looked upon as the best King Kong films of all time. I get that. I understand. But they're not as bad as you would think they are. You know, they're really not. You know, I think they're very entertaining films, more so 76 than King Kong Lives. But I think that, you know, maybe you should go back and try and rewatch them and try to gain a newfound perspective from them. You know, once again, I hold 76 up there with great King Kong films. As a matter of fact, y'all know me, my favorite King Kong film is King Kong Escapes. You know, not exactly the best King Kong film in like King Kong purist eyes, but for me, for entertaining value, King Kong Escapes #1 and King Kong 1976 is #2. Not bad. Not bad at all. You know, like I said, when you compare this one to the other two, when you compare 76 to 2005 and 1933, of course, like I said, he is not going to measure up to those films, because those films featured dinosaurs, more monsters, maybe a lot more action. But to me, the story with King Kong is him falling in love with the girl, which brings about his downfall. And I think, in my opinion, the 1976 was the best at conveying that story. So once you give it a rewatch, and I promise you, you may enjoy it. You may enjoy it, you know. But until then, this is such a great sculpture, and this pretty much concludes my review the Mark Seng Yang Showcase of my 1976 sculpture of King Kong from the 1976 film, King Kong. If you have any questions, holler me down in the comment section or hit me up on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We definitely go from there. Or go to Art of Mark on Facebook, like I mentioned a few times in this video, and see if you can try and work a deal with him to get one of these great kaiju sculptures. And he does everything. He does Kong, he does Godzilla, he has done, Superman figures, he has done Batman figures, he has done just great kaiju sculptures. Not just kaiju sculptures, like I mentioned, he has done of Superman and Batman, pop culture icons. But for me, his main expertise is kaiju. So go to him and try and work a deal out with him, and I guarantee you, you would not be disappointed. And Phillip Frazier, along with myself, are living proof of that. Once again, thank you, Phillip Frazier, for the use of your pick during this video. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, Mark Seng Yang, for providing me with this great sculpture. Thank you so much for doing what you did, even while you were injured. I really do appreciate it. And everybody, please go to his Facebook page, Art of Mark, and holler at him. And I guarantee you, once you strike a deal with him, he will give you exactly what you want, and you will not be disappointed. All right? So I thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on next figure and move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.